Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next anime review for Anime Month. And since my birthday month of June is almost coming to a close here, just got a couple more to do, and that closes the book on another very successful birthday slash anime month of June. But I want to get the last two in because I'm reviewing the first seasons just before their season two premieres. Just getting out of the way. So I'll be quickly reviewing of the first season of My Dress Up Darling. So just reviewing this right now, but I want to review this now before season two comes out, which is basically the start of July. But I want to get this in because I want to talk about the first season because I love the first season of My Dress Up Darling. And especially when before it came out, it was very well hyped up, and guess what? It lived up to the expectation because it didn't disappoint. It was a very it's a, to me it's a fun rom-com, also slice of life, but series. And especially for our girl Marin, which I still have the little stand-up figure right here. Probably can see her where my finger is, right? But she was like the next anime girl that broke the internet in a way. Because I heard when this debuted, when she came on, it's like the internet went crazy over her. I remember. So, but I think Mara is Kitakawa. There was her last name Kitakawa still. Yeah. So, but Marin, but she. I thought she was a great character. And then you got our other main guy Gojo. What kind of Gojo? And I thought these two had great chemistry with each other, and especially first of all, this is a special edition right here because it comes with the Blu-ray and of course with the booklet. It has with like the design characters of our cast, especially of our main characters. Like the clothes the clothes that they wore in the series. It's always fun to get special editions because I always like to look at these booklets whenever they come when so that's always fun to read. Like I said, I'm always a sucker for these type of special editions. But it debuted at the first season one debuted in 2022, the start of 2022, in January. And ever since that, they just said the second season is in development. But I know it would take 3 years though. But time because like I said, because the series is still going on. Because I know the next book is supposed to come out sometime later, so the manga is still going on. So we still have more material to work with when season two comes out. But but when it came out, like I said, it was very well received. Like I said, as a 7.9 IMDb, as a 4.9 on rating on Crunchyroll, so 4.9 out of 5 stars. So yeah, everybody loves the series. So yeah, it lived up to the hype, just like other ones that lived up to the hype, like Kaiju number 8, Chainsaw Man, and Dun Dun Dun, which I'll talk about that though. But they all lived to their hypes. But anyway, get into our story. Um, we have our guy Wakina Gojo. He's a guy who is a bit of a loner. Doesn't have any friends though, right? And he spends his whole time trying to make Hina dolls. Because we see when he was a kid, when he went to after the passing of his parents, he went to live with his grandpa, and so who makes Hina dolls. And ever since he first saw a Hina doll, he saw it was one of the most beautiful things he's ever seen, especially what he said was in the eyes. And that's what when he tells Marin that whenever you he never used the word beautiful as much. So whenever he does, he would describe something only as something that's beautiful to him, as one of the things he would describe as Marin later, that she was beautiful. So he only used that word if it really means something to him. So like I said, when he was a kid, when he first saw those Hina dolls, he said it was one of the most beautiful things he's ever seen. So he's been determined ever since then to create Hina dolls and try to perfect his grandpa's work, right? But it takes, a lot of skill and years to perfect. And because since he's a guy who has taken a fancy to dolls, there was a quick flash that uh, of this girl who made fun of him and got angry at him. Say, "Hey, you're a guy. You like dolls. I don't be friends with you." I never knew who I never knew who that girl was. I don't know if I don't know if it's more in the manga, or maybe we'll see that girl again in the second season. I don't know. But I was like, who was this girl who made fun of him though? So, but yeah, that's why the reason why he doesn't have that many friends and stuff. So, but so he's always kind of been as a loner basically until one day when in school, um because the sewing machine in his place, the old sewing machine in his place, it doesn't work no more. So he was going to use the old the one of the sewing machines in the classrooms. And when Marin sees him using the sewing machine, she got all excited, like, "Oh wow, you know how to sew, right?" Well, the only that she had bumped into him in their class beforehand, and she was like, "Wow, one of the most popular." Because Marin's one of the most popular girls in school, so to think that a girl like her was like having a little conversation with a guy like him, which he even thought that would happen. Then afterwards, she sees him with the sewing machine, knows how good his skill is at sewing and stuff, right? And so after she notices the little Hina doll, he thought that she was gonna make fun of him for that, but no, she really admires it, and that gives her the idea because she wants to show this outfit that she was trying to make, right, but she did such a poor job at it, right. She wants to be a cosplayer. She wants to cosplay her favorite character from her favorite show, which is this girl right here was from what the show called Slippery Girls 2. But then she wants to cosplay. This is her favorite character. So she asks him, since he's good at sewing and stuff, right? She wants to ask him to make a costume for her of that character. Yeah. And so ultimately he agrees to it. Well, the thing is though, he agrees because he's taking a fascination how poorly she made her dress, right? Like, oh, this is wrong, this is all wrong, this is wrong, right? So let's go and get the materials. So she well, first of all, before they get the materials, he has to take her measurements, right? Pretty much every inch of her body to make sure the costume fits right with her. So she visits to his house. I think she's having a girl in his room, never happened, and she starts undressing, but she's wearing a swimsuit. And so he's getting it's funny that he's getting all nervous, because he has to measure especially around her chest area and stuff, right? And at times where he freezes like a statue. I mean, the chemistry that they have these two between each other is almost is basically on point. I bought the chemistry they have with each other, and so and one thing he gets all the measures despite how tiresome it is because he was being so anxious around her all the time while measuring her, and so until they go out and they buy the materials. until the one day, like, well, he spent so much time focusing on this, like he hasn't really time to do like much of his Hina dolls right, or let alone his midterms at school, his studies at school for midterms. And so all that's said and done though, and so he finally managed to get the dress done, and so that she can go to the convention. Which is, well, the thing is, it's only 2 weeks away, but I didn't have to go this one, but I could just make it to the next one. But she was so impressed how fast he got this done, went out of his way to make this for her. And oh, by the way, another funny thing, for her to understand, for him to understand the character, right, to see the more of the measurements on the thing, he had to. She lent him some of the. It was the I think it was video games, or was the series, the TV series, and it's a little bit kind of erotic because his grandpa walks in and he hears the audio, right, and he's like, really, he's getting into watching those now. But he sees the serious look on his face, right? He's like really into watching it, but it's a misunderstanding because he's really focusing on the measurements of the costume. He's not really watching the show itself. He's focused on. His grandpa's reaction was that's just funny, you know. But anyway, now that the costume has been perfected, she can go to the convention and seeing all these other people dressing in costumes for cosplaying, right? And Gojo was a little bit of impressed by that. Even certain like guys were wearing female characters costumes. So like say some people go to great lengths to dress up as their favorite characters, right? And overall, it was success. It was successful. You got pictures and stuff, right? And until there was one certain look that Mara gave him, and that gave him the impression like say that she was beautiful. Like on the way home on the train ride, just when he was passing out from exhaustion, being tired, right? When he passed out sleeping, kind of whispered under his breath, telling Marin that she was beautiful in his sleep, and she kind of like got all, huh? And so now because of that, she wants to make more. She wants him to make more costumes. And on the way, they meet this high school girl who is basically a year older than him and than both of them. She's a famous cosplayer on the internet, and her name was it Shejuna, and she's a kind of like a famous cosplayer on the internet, and the Marin is a great admirer of her. So she was curious because she saw on the streaming about the pictures that of Marin. She was wondering how that costume was made, so she followed her to Gojo's home. Of course, she got wet because it was raining, so his grandpa offered him the bath, and he walks in when she was naked in the bath, and of course you see the whole a lot of times a guy walks in, girl naked from the bath, right? You see the whole bunch of times in anime. So, but she wants to know how the costume is made, and Marin freaks is freaks out because she's a fan of hers, and she wants him. Now she wants him to make a costume for her to see how goes, and also to introduce to her younger sister, which it was in middle school, and it turns out that despite the fact that she's the older sister, right, and yet does have a little bit petite physique to her, right. Her younger sister is so much more taller than her. She looks like an adult. She's like what 5'11" or 5'10". So they're kind of like, you're so big, which Gojo thought was referring to her chest. Right? No, she's actually like that tall. I was like, of course it was that. Yeah, and I think also not only the Japanese dub I always give credit for, but the English dub, like the voice cast also did the good job. Like the voice of Marin, voiced by Amber Lee, who I did meet, and she was very nice at one of the cons I went to. I forgot where I put the autograph though, but next time I see, I'll autograph the mangas too. So, but she was very nice as well. I know how much fan of Marin I am. And also the voice of the younger sister Shinju is voiced by Jade Saxton. You know, many voices I've watched from anime, including ones I've heard from basically from as Megami from Food Wars, or Konako from High School DD. So many voice roles. She voices younger sister Shinju, and she's the one who basically who takes the pictures. She does the camera work, taking pictures of her older sister, who she is very close with, and so they want to do a group cosplay of these characters from this magical girl series, and so they want to do it at this abandoned hospital, which Shejuna is kind of a little bit of afraid because it's a little bit creepy, and but it turns out that her sister Shinju, she wants to cosplay because there's a character from a show that she liked, and it's a guy. So um so she asked Gojo to keep it a secret from them before they do the group thing, right? And so they buy the right materials, especially the materials how to bind her chest in, because being a guy, you have to be completely flat though, right? So they went to a little more ways to bind her chest, and both of them were surprised when she steps in the costume. First, they didn't recognize her, and it's like, oh, that's the guy straight up from the series. They're the love interest, and she's surprised that's her sister in that costume. So she wanted to, how she wanted to she wanted to cosplay too. So they managed to do the group shots, all the shots all they have together before her chest ripped through the materials. So, and throughout the rest of the series, we see more of like the chemistry between Gojo and Marin, flourish more, and I bought the chemistry that they have with each other. It's like I said before, it's like these two were meant to be together, and so, and there's a moment where Gojo he goes to her place, right, to her apartment, and so she answers the door. She's in her pajamas, and he immediately stares at her chest, right, because she's in her pajamas too. But of course, she's being a little bit of oblivious, like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put my colored contacts in. She looks in the mirror and is like, oh, I forgot to put my colored contacts in. Oblivious to it until when she puts on the apron and she wants to cook him something to eat. And it's like, oh, silly me, I'm turning red. Okay, silly me. And so, and her room is completely filled with. It's like, it's funny. Like first, he was feeling anxious stepping into her house, right? Until when he saw her room was completely filled with characters from her anime, he's like, "Yep, this is definitely her room." Like that anxiety went gone instantly. So, and then in other words, like it's just I enjoyed the chemistry they had with each other. Like of course one point they went to the beach, like Gojo, like he's never been to the beach because he doesn't go anywhere. He pretty much stays in his room trying to make Hina dolls, right? So he hasn't really gone to any of these places. But because of he's with her though, he's having a good time. And also the one point where another one where they try to do another cosplay where and also where she tries to buy him clothes because he only has like wears the same kind of clothes, right? So she tries to buy him clothes, or another one where they try to do the cosplay, for the play where she dresses as this succubus from this manga, and so the shooter they go to this, which turns out it's a love hotel, and it's like, this is a love hotel, right? And it's like, oh, silly me, I didn't know it was until I booked it. So they're looking at all these other places, like, whoa, like, oh, of course, there's a vibrator and there are condoms there, and so, and she tells Gojo, like, here, keep one in your wallet, it's for good luck. And so, she puts on the succubus costume, getting shots, but there's one shot where she's yelling like this, right? It's like from the manga. So it's better to get a shot from the front. So he gets on the bed, and she gets on top of him. Right? He managed to get the good shot though, but he forgot they're in a love hotel, and they hear a couple in the next room over. They hear moaning. Right? He's like, "Oh crap! I forgot this is a love hotel." And of course, since she's sitting on top of him, he he actually gets he gets a hard on, and he grabs her from on her waist, and she makes a scream, right, one of those erotic screams. So and the lights turn off, and then there's silence between the two of them, and it's like the moment like they were almost about to do it. When I review the series, it's like I put it like they almost did it, right? But I got caught because the phone rang because of the downstairs clerks. Oh, do you need more time? So, and as they're leaving the building, they pass by this other couple. This woman passing by in the elevator is like, I guess she's a bit older. Is like, teenagers, high school teenagers, right? So good to be young. But what it ends like when they there's the fireworks festival, right? Because he's never been to one because, like I said, he doesn't go anywhere. He just watches the fireworks from his bedroom window. So takes you to the fireworks show, and then ultimately by the end. Oh, by the way, another nice reference where he's back in her apartment in her bedroom, and they're watching this very scary movie. And I had to laugh because like the show they're playing, the movie they're playing, it's the ending of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But instead of Leatherface, it's like the girl from The Ring, right? Because the girl from The Ring had the long hair covering her face, wearing the white dress, right? And she's the one holding the chainsaw. It's basically they took the girl from The Ring and putting her in the ending of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where Sally is riding in the back of the truck, screaming laughing hysterically, right? So I had to laugh at that. It's like, oh, they put Texas Chainsaw Massacre in here, except it's the girl from The Ring instead of Leatherface. So I found that funny too. So, but and so at the very end of the last episode, just before it cuts to black when it ends, they're both in their beds, and I do like the transition where Gojo's on this side of his bed and Marin's on this side of the bed, but I like how the screen is split, but you make it seem like the both of them are in the same picture together. But they're talking on their phones though, right? From their beds though. But I do like the screen split shot where it makes it seem like they're both talking to each other, right? They're like laying right next to each other. And so he falls asleep, and Marin goes and says, "Gojo, I love you. Good night." So, but so yeah, so that cuts it right there, and then now season 2 will premiere. So yeah, My Dress Up Darling, I really enjoy the series. I think the characters are great, especially Marin. I think she's a great character. She was like at the time this came out. I would say she was one of the better anime girls I've seen during this time when it came out. So, and I do like the other characters. I like Gojo. I like the two sisters. So, and the whole thing, this whole world of cosplay and like getting all these buying list materials and just finding the right thing to measurements and stuff like that. And but the main focus was the chemistry between between Marin and Gojo. So, but it was that's what made the show work though. So that they two of them together, that's what made the show work. And like I said, it's like these two were meant to be together, right? Because I bought the relationship these two had. But yeah, it was a very fun series, and just as we're getting to the end of we're at the end of this month here. So when July starts, it's surely that season 2 will premiere. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing season 2 of My Dress Up Darling. So, and I can't wait to see more of the fun our two leads uh get, so yeah, season 1 of My Dress Up Darling, definitely thumbs up, a 10 out of 10 for me. and I look forward to seeing season 2 then. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the final review for Anime Month, and which will be also before season 2 premieres, and that will be of this. So I'll see you on the final review for Anime Month. Later.